Hi, welcome back everyone. Lisa and I were reflecting on the previous two videos that we made around mental health awareness and the theme of kindness. And we went on to have a further conversation about some of the things that are really important in relation to the conversations that we've just had. So we decided to do a third video because we thought it's just too important not to be giving out the message. We need to give out that message of some of the other things, as we've talked about. And really what has come up for me is the whole idea around boundaries in terms of kindness and in terms of respect. For me, working in co-production with Lisa, in every way, everything that we do in our workplace is co-produced. Our conversations, our courses, our preparation for our meetings, and all our work, all our output is co-produced. And actually co-production is the foundation for partnership working, for collaboration, for making decisions together so that we can have the best possible outcome. Not that every outcome is always the right outcome, but it's about working together. And in those conversations that we have, it's very important, while I listen to Lisa's perspective, that she also hears my perspective too. And for other people that we work with in terms of other organisations, other people within this organisation and our carer and supporter community, it's important that everyone has a voice, and every voice matters, and everyone is welcome at the table. And that requires courage. Now, whilst we talked about that in the last video, we also talked about the whole idea of kindness around that. And kindness for me, in relation to all of that work, is to support better mental health and well-being for everyone, and the work that we do and the work that we deliver in mental health it's not about being pink and fluffy. Kindness is actually a value that's very much for me associated with respect and boundaries. And co-production and working with people with lived experience and carers and other staff means that there has to be very clear boundaries, and some of that can be very challenging. Yeah. And there's something around, whilst I have my perspective, and sometimes I do think I'm right, and sometimes I am right, but there's something about also having a conversation to highlight the importance of being able to see other perspectives and actually be able to recognise that you may be right about some things, may not be right about some things, but other perspectives help to shine a light on the importance of really meaningful dialogue so that we can have meaningful conversations and good outcomes, and to be able to do the best that we can for the people that we work with. Wouldn't you say, Lisa?
Yeah, and I think as well, we spoke in the last video about true co-production is actually challenging. I mean, I think if you walk out of a room and it's been all very easy, I would actually question whether true co-production has gone on, because certainly for me, I know when I'm trying to have my voice, and especially, it's not just for me as a person with lived experience, it's as a staff member and for other staff members as well. Or for a carer coming along, or maybe somebody in a community and voluntary organisation who's coming in, who doesn't know the lay of the land. And you finally have the opportunity to have your voice, and you're so nervous and you're so wanting to get it out and have your say, and then maybe something comes back that you think you can maybe either question yourself, have I sounded really stupid? Or we can get defensive. I mean, we talked about that in our compassion and anxiety videos. When we feel threatened in any way, and sometimes in courageous conversations where we do have different views and perspectives, we do feel threatened. Yeah. It's a normal way to feel. You know, our self-esteem, who we are, all sorts of things are tied up with that. And with that can come, if the conversation is not well facilitated by somebody who actually understands the different perspectives and how to facilitate these kind of things, it can actually go wrong. And it is really important that people in the room are able to uphold those values of respect, of being able, when we start to get maybe emotional, and a lot of the issues that we are talking about around when we're sitting around a table are emotive issues, because they're really important to us for whatever context we're coming from. It's about being able to say, facilitate, maybe we need to step back, yes, I hear, what is it? Can you tell me more about that? And what is it? That requires from each of us, we spoke about the ability to be self-aware and reflect. What is it that we're bringing to the table as well when we show up to have these conversations? And that ability to reflect can help us also afterwards look at what's going on there and know for ourselves it's actually not okay to step across that line. And there will simply be times, if we're going to be doing true co-production, where we don't agree on things. And it is about negotiation, finding a way forward, finding a win-win. And all that actually takes a lot of investment. It takes upholding those values. It takes knowing what's acceptable and what's not acceptable. And I think us talking about doing this video is it doesn't always go okay. And it's important to acknowledge that and why that is, so that when people are getting involved in this kind of thing, we do actually really need to be aware of all these components that we're bringing.
Yeah, absolutely, Lisa. And for me, co-production takes time. The investment is not just in the people, but in the time that it takes. It can't be rushed. Appreciating people's perspectives and the value base that they come from and their past experience, whether that's lived experience or learned experience. Taking all of that into account requires co-production, true co-production, to be invested in terms of time. And also there is what I have found through co-production, and I've been doing co-production for a number of years now, what I have found is that it requires a level of vulnerability. Now that means being able to be honest about not always being right, or being able to be honest about not having considered a perspective that is put forward during a conversation and during the co-production of a course. Ideas and perspectives from other people are so important, and those are the things that help us stretch. Those are the things that help us learn. They are the things that help us sit in a space and be okay. I mean, if everyone is sharing that respect and are very clear about the boundaries and what that co-production space is about, we're more able to be kind and open with each other.
And to actually hear what's being said.
Yeah. And we're all there for the same reason. What are we trying to achieve? We're trying to achieve a collaborative working environment with respect, with very clear boundaries, people being heard and having a voice. Because for far too long, people haven't had a voice. And that goes for people who work in services as well, because there is no expert way of doing things. And in actual fact, just while I mention that, there's a lot of co-production associated with the terminology around experts by experience, and I would challenge also that whole idea, because I think it can be very difficult for any of us to be experts in anything, and being an expert in yourself or in your subject requires time, investment, and a lot of preparation and a lot of education. But I think at the very core of all of this is something that we need to be very aware of, is that what you've already said, Lisa, and we've referred to in the other videos, is being self-aware. Having a fairly well-developed sense of self-awareness puts you in a better position to be able to co-produce effectively with a team of people, other people who are co-producing. And really at the heart of that, and the theme for Mental Health Awareness Week is kindness. Being kind is so important, and it's not pink and fluffy. No. It's about respect.
And I think when you're bringing vulnerability, which it takes, in fact, to learn about other people and other ways of doing things and seeing the world, that kindness is so important. I mean, we had a conversation just yesterday, and we have very clear boundaries and very respectful relationship where we're used to, in fact, challenging each other on our views and perspectives on things. But it actually, there's something about it that actually costs something, because there's an emotional investment, and it's about stuff that we're passionate about and we hold very dear, if it's in terms of our values. But at the other side of that is the benefits. It's the wonderful thing of actually being able to meet with another human being. We live in a society that is so separated by hierarchy, by how much you earn, by what band you're on the service, by whether you're working or you're not working. All sorts of things separate us, and yet when we come together and have conversations, my experience working with professionals, when it was considered, I certainly wouldn't have a key to the door or have anybody's contact number to be able to get hold of them. You're suddenly meeting with people and realizing, gosh, in most instances there's a lot more in common than there is different. And most people are coming to this work wanting what's best. It's sometimes that we're just actually not sure what that is and what that looks like because we've been so used to behaving and doing things in a certain way. And yet when we truly have these conversations and learn as much, I learn as much from your perspective as a professional and working with others about the things that you face and the things that you bring as a human being, you know, as a mother, as a daughter, as all those kind of things. And that is something actually very amazing and very significant in terms of if we're thinking about kindness and really helping people to lead a quality life, to transform the way that they are in the world. You know, I don't see that the downside is all those things, the challenges that come with that. But what comes from that process needs to be recognised as being invaluable.
Yeah, absolutely, and there's a lot to be gained from true co-production. And the theme of kindness this week is very much entrenched in a lot of the work that we do. So I suppose our message is when we are engaging with people in a true and meaningful way, that when we talk about being respectful and being with people and being in relationship, that what's really important there is that there's very clear boundaries, and that's very much tied up with the whole idea of kindness. So we just wanted to get the opportunity to share that with you, because we think it's very, very important. It's a very clear message, and in terms of the direction of travel for our work, this is where we're at, and this is the place that we're going to.
And I think just to finish with that whole idea for staff and for people using services is that, you know, this doing to has to stop. Whether that's as a staff member, because that happens with staff members also not having a voice, or whether it's people with lived experience, we can't be designing services without the people who are using those services. It doesn't make sense without the frontline staff delivering those services. This has to be a collaborative piece, and that's a win-win really for everybody.
Absolutely.
So we hope that's been useful for you, and we'll be checking in with you again sometime.
Thanks.